but to stop this mine from coming through. But we know, what did they do? They gave an injunction. You know, they gave an injunction and then they gave an enforcement order, and we were put through court. I was one of the named defendants on that injunction case, and then along with the other top 10 that were on there. And we lost, of course, because Imperial Metals had put so much millions of dollars in there, but natives, they don't have nothing to lose. They didn't put no cash in, they said. So the natives lost this injunction case, so therefore, of course, the leader moved out the territory or get arrested. And so this is where our people are right now, is that when we do stand up on our land and our territory, we are under threat of being arrested. And, you know, we commend the occupation that is happening with the Unisota, Lilu Island, and Maui and Chukakat, and the Voice for the Voiceless, these occupation camps that have formed throughout so-called British Columbia. Those are for all of us. They're fighting for all of our rights and our title, not just for them and their territory, but also sparking that hope and that resistance that we all start occupying our territories. And I was talking to my friend Tori from I Don't Know More. She was saying, we were talking about what are we going to do, and I was like, even if we could get, you know, 10 more started throughout Canada, even if we could get 20 Indians from across the country to go out to Minnesota, natives, allied tribes to go out there, native people. We need more native people supporting these occupation camps. Also, I just want to flip to the next screen. This is another map that my sister did. This shows the Kinder Morgan pipeline that's going through the Secwepemc territory. You see over 50% of the Kinder Morgan pipeline will be within our Secwepemc lands. And this is really scary because we saw them do a mock spill down here on Riverside Park a couple of years ago, where they put on the hazmat suits and they went down there and they're like, okay, if there's a spill, they're going across this river, this is how we're going to be able to clean it up. Like, it was a big joke. It was a big joke, but there was a woman there opposing that, trying to bring attention to that when they did that spill. So these are really scary issues, and that's why there's an urgency from the mothers to stand up. Right here on the top map, you'll see this hazard sign with this big radius around it. That's the Imperial Metals Mount Holly mining disaster, 100 kilometers from the impact zone. That was calculated after we talked to Dr. Hanada, top mercury expert of the world, a Japanese doctor that was doing mercury poisoning testing in grassy narrows for many, many, many years. They test the blood and the bones of the grassy narrows, Anishinaabe, and they do have mercury poisoning in their blood. And so what the doctor said right after the Mount Holly disaster, when we talked to him, I told him the province lifted the drinking water ban. He was like, no way. Do not drink the water for 100 kilometers from that mine site. Any animals that are 100 kilometers from that mine site. So that already reaches the Fraser River. And you can see the red area around there, the northern Secwepemc tree area, but that's on the red area. But you can look all within that top radius, it all falls within that hazard zone. So this impacts a great area of our territory, and this is why we are about protecting our territories, because we have to be able to maintain clean water for our children. Because the water that was put here on this planet is going to be the same water that's going to be here 1,000 years from now. But it's up to us to protect it, or else we're not going to have no clean water left. And so our war cry is for water, and our unity is for water, and our prayers are for the water for our territory. Thanks, Jen.
Wai Popaiga, speak with my Avian Kasi. I'm not as radical as Ken and Frida, but I've been involved in some things, so my story might not be as interesting. But I'll speak from my own personal experience as a Secwepemc mother and grandmother. I live on the Nisquamish Reserve, and I was raised. I never went to residential school, so I was lucky to be able to stay home with my parents and grandparents and learn from them, especially about food gathering. And that's what we do. My husband and my two sons are hunters and fishermen, and we have a big organic garden. I do a lot of berry picking, so probably about 80 to 90% of our food we produce ourselves, and we don't have to spend much at the grocery stores. So protecting the land is just critically important for me and my family, and not only for the food that it provides us, but for all of the things associated with the food and the culture, because when our land is destroyed and in our territory, it is being mining, ranching, forestry, private property, tourism, all those things that are rapidly destroying our traditional use areas, which far extend the boundaries of our Indian reserve. So when those lands are destroyed, we not only have the inability to gather our foods, but also our spirituality, our social structure, because food gathering is a social, like we take our children, our grandparents, our family, and we go out and we do it as a social activity. And those skills need to be done in order to be passed on to future generations. Because if we don't, then the knowledge dies out and our people are more dependent on the economic system of the grocery stores. So to our family, that's really important. We try to do as much as we can with the community. My sons organized the hunting camp, which they've had for 5 years now. They take a lot of the young men out who don't have fathers living with them or don't want to teach them, teaching them the hunting skills and also the values. We've organized birch bark camps where we go up to the mountains and we collect the bark and make the baskets, and high tanning camps. So the big, besides protecting the land and doing all this activist stuff, there's so much other work we need to do, like bringing back the cultural skills, the language, and there's also a lot of, social, emotional problems dealing with too long reserve, so it's really hard trying to find a balance and finding enough people to do all the work we have to do. But yesterday I was really glad to hear from people like Uja, who said, we don't need the court to tell us we have title. We know we have title, we just have to go out and assert it. But on the other hand, you see what happens when we do that, like the police, the government, and all of those things that we come up against. And also what Kent McNeil said, the Supreme Court lawyer, in the absence of having a structured, formal collective organization in your or group in your community, the government and the corporations will go to the elected chief council, and that's what's been happening in our area. And we know it's a collective. We know that we have to develop a system where the people will be the decision makers on the territory, because it's a collective ownership. It's a collective, especially a responsibility for all of us. We can't expect a small group of people like an elected chief and council to be making decisions on behalf of all of our lands. And in many cases, they're detrimental decisions. We hear of 2 bands signing agreements with Kinder Morgan. We hear of chief and council signing forestry agreements where the people have no control over, first of all, do they have the permission to be logging there? How are they going to log? How are they going to restore it? And all of these practices are contributing to climate change that the professor talked about, deforestation. All of these things are, in the long run, detrimental to our people and our way of life as well. So we have to be organized. We can't be, I know at times it seems like we're reacting to a lot of things. We hear of this mine starting up, this thing is starting up, and we have to go there and try to do something about it. But our other work is building up our authority of the people, the collective decision-making process that we have to do to uphold our responsibilities and build our own economies based on our Sokaku values, principles, and cultures. So it's developing our own governance system, and it's a lot of work because of all the past colonization that has happened to our people and the education systems our people have gone through, and like the destruction of the culture and language, bringing all that back that will be part of a big governance structure. It's all based on our culture, our language, our values, and I really appreciate hearing from the speakers that were here yesterday, like how, so we have our governance system. We would do like Ruben and them did. They developed their own environmental assessment. They didn't go by the province. They didn't go by anyone else. That's what we have to do, is our own laws. What is Squamish law? How do we uphold Squamish law in everything that we do? And another good example was Ryan from Scouse and Daryl Bob from Hasta, how they just informally met and they made an agreement how they're going to protect the Hat Creek Valley. And this was not in any landlocked structures or anything. They just made that agreement themselves for how two nations, neighboring nations, will work together to protect the water. So we have a lot of work to do, and we really appreciate, all of the people that are here, the Ken McNeil, Brian Noble, and Sherry, and all the different people who came to share with us, because we can all work together, and the supporters from Campbell's non-natives, Squamish that are non-Squamish that are here, that are working on issues. We all have to work together. We have to find a way to do that. So I really appreciate being here, and we'll continue my work, and I look forward to all of you helping us. Good job.
Thank you very much. But it's called 19 now. I think one of the things, and we're going to have lunch right away, but anyways, just first of all, I'd like to thank the speakers for I guess the very ground level, bottom up type of perspective of this whole climate change issue. I think globalization, when people talk about issues like there are so many billions of people, in order to feed them all, you need to sort of endorse the consolidation and the of these big, huge companies, and decisions have to be made at the top of the spectrum on a global basis in order to meet these needs as being the driving force to create change. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think decisions have to come from the bottom up, and whether it be here in British Columbia, where Breda and Canada's Janice are talking about decisions moving from the bottom up, going up, is more important, because if you take the time to look at Naomi and all these fellows, you'll see that around the world, local communities, whether they be in India or Greece or wherever have you in the world other than British Columbia, you'll see that big companies are coming in, basically buying out the resources, whether they're in Europe or India or wherever they are, and they're actually going to pollute and cause more hardship on that local population in those regions than is there now. What these people are saying is exactly the same thing that's being said by other people around the world. So I disagree that we need to just be turning over our money to these companies that gobble up other companies and decisions coming top down. That's something that we have to be firm on. We have to look at ourselves. We have to make our own judgments. I think these people really represent the direction we should be going as Indigenous people and as Canadians. I think Canadians have to really look at that. Anyways, we're going to break for lunch, and lunch is upstairs. I think is that where it is? Come on. Yeah, upstairs, and we'll break for 1 hour. It's 12:22, 1:22 to come back here. Thank you very much. We'll be having Pujal he makes it here after lunch. We'll have a discussion on timber work and some other topics. Okay, Coach Jim, thank you very much for being here this morning. Give the ladies another round of applause.
Okay, we will return after we nourish ourselves. Yeah, and yeah. Okay, we'll be back, and sorry about the technical difficulties.